God, I ask that you open up the hearts and minds of everybody here today. I ask that you bless this experience that we had today. God, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for us as Americans, for us to have a right to come together and just to exercise our free speech. God, we know that's a blessing. It's a rarity in the history of this world. We just want to thank you. God, thank you for everything you bless this country with. I ask you help all Americans understand what we have in this country, what we've been blessed with. Even the poor are rich here in America. God, thank you for your son, for the fact that you sent your son down here and he bled for each and every single one of us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Joey. Now if we can have you all face center, we have Baz here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And stay center facing there, and we're going to listen to the national anthem. For both sides of the aisle. We're seeing a lot of political tensions as people dig into their camps, either far right or far left. The problem is there's only a minority of the issues there that divide us. People want to know what the Washington 3% stands for politically. It's very simple. We aren't right, we aren't left. This is what we use. This is the Constitution of the United States. We do not support a single party. We have had people from multiple parties invited. We do have people here to speak as either independents, libertarians, or GOP. Green Party and Democratic Socialists and the Democratic candidates we've reached out to have not responded or have declined. So, as we are here, just remember that we are, like I said before, not here to engage with people who are across the street saying terrible things that are not true about us. Quite hurtful to a lot of us. We are here just to get our message across, to talk about that we need to start with what can unite us. We need to start with the common ground in the middle that we can agree on, and we'll move from there. With that, I want to introduce our first speaker. So first up is a candidate for the Attorney General's office for the state of Washington, Scott Stapney.
So I am not Scott Stapney. I'm here for him. He's sick. He's been sick for a week, and he wanted me to give this speech, and he prepared it for you guys, and he's running for Attorney General. We come together here in Seattle on this 5th day of the 2nd decade of the 21st century to rally as a free people against hate, We do so now on this cold January day because we know that those who seek to rule us through their money and greed use hate as their best weapon to convince us that we, the people, are not their masters and cannot govern ourselves. One of our purposes here today is to change those untruths which blame the people for their government's failures and atrocities to a dialogue which recognizes that it is more often than not our government, sorry about that part of it, the page turning, and those people who operate and control it who inflict hate on our world to promote their own economic well-being. Let us be loud and clear to all public servants, moneylenders, and debt buyers. We the people will not continue to tolerate the injustices you inflict upon us in order to feather your own nests and retirements. We will not allow you to continue to inject ordinary people into the streets where many die based on the fraudulent evidence you have sanctified to increase your own personal wealth. Let it be clear to you bankers, debt buyers, and judges, we will rise up against you for your crimes and the crimes of your predecessors. We the people will not continue to consent to your unjust institutions as our own because they are not permitted by the social compact between the government and we the people. In renouncing hate as an instrument of evil, we acknowledge that justice must be based on truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Truth as determined by our peers and not corruptible judges. Accordingly, we understand today, this 5th day of the first month of 2020, that if we are to rule ourselves through this representative republic, as intended by our forefathers, we must have access to those truths our government and its operators have kept from us for years. Truth is essential to justice. It always has been and always will be. Today, we acknowledge that the war against government corruption is and always shall be a spiritual one that is properly waged against those who hate, and by those who do not hate, and seek liberty and justice for all. So as we go forward in time, let us resolve as a people to preserve our families and local communities and to protect them from a government that cares only about its monetary needs. Happy New Year, my friends. Like other people throughout time, we embark on a path to rid ourselves of hate and provide justice for all of us. And that's the conclusion of his speech. And I'd just like to add that, yes, you can find him on Facebook. He's running for Attorney General. He was a mortgage attorney for the past 10 years, ever since the 2008 recession. And he has a lot of interesting things to read online. You need to check him out.
Thank you very much. So, next up, I haven't seen him recently. Where's Ron Lopez? Ronnie Lopez? Going once. Greg, where's Ron? All right, so we'll skip him. All right, so next up we got Alex Robincamp.
Yeah. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? So, I'm just going to start off by asking, you guys like free stuff, right? Absolutely. Everyone loves free stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like surviving? Do you like living?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm up here as an Army veteran that is trying to give back to my community by giving free training. Now, I'm not a combat veteran, but I spent 7 years in the Army training to live, to survive, to preserve life. So what I'm giving back to you is once a month, every month, I have a training calendar, and we're going to start training as a community. My thing right now, and my kick for the last year, is I want to bring the community together, and I want to start training as a community. So rotating every other month, I have firearms training, and I have survival training. So as of right now, I'm mostly operating in the Tacoma area, but I have training planned for Idaho, I have training planned for Oregon, I have people coming down from California, I had people coming from Idaho. I had someone that drove down from Canada to come and train with us. So everyone out there, if you would like to get out to train, to learn some skills, I implore you, come out and train with me. And 2020, let's be a little bit more deadly and a little bit harder to kill. The Rogan Camp. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Thanks for that. Next up, Ron Lopez. We found him. Come up, Ronnie.
How's it going, Patriots? Great and proud day to be an American, right? Land free, home of the brave. We'll make sure that's never taken away from us. But for those who don't know me, I'm Ron Lopez, member of Washington 3%. And if anyone hasn't noticed, I happen to be brown. You know, the Washington State 3%ers, we do not discriminate people by their skin tone, nor do we discriminate people based on where they're from. Look around you, we have people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different religions, different political views. You know, we got Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents, and any Mandalorians out there yet? I guess. All right, I see one. All right. But like any other normal human being, we judge people by their content of their character, because a person's character says a lot about them. I've been a member for the past year and a half and have received nothing but respect, love, and unity from my fellow members. Within our organizations, we have members from, like I said, from different backgrounds. I've personally witnessed our leadership remove people from this group from not living by the goals and true meaning of what it is to be a patriot. Seen that firsthand. I'm taking this from our website so the people out there can hear about Washington 3%, who we are not. We are not an anti-government militia group. Actually, we are pro-government, as long as that government follows the restrictions set forth by the Constitution. We support the U.S. Constitution and expect our government to do the same. We are not a tinfoil hat conspiracy nuts. We are an inclusive group and welcome all races, nationalities, religions, and lifestyle preferences. If you are a Constitution-supporting American patriot, we welcome you. Unfortunately, we have organizations and groups of people out there who enjoy nothing more than to spread lies about us. These very same groups claim that we are a hate group, but they're the ones that are out there promoting hate. We're over here exercising our First Amendment, freedom of speech. Yet we have people across the street that want to interfere with that freedom of speech by making sounds and noises. We're not doing that, but as this day forward, as true Americans, we will not tolerate the nonsense that's going on. As all those anti-gun grabbers, their favorite term, enough is enough. Thank you.
Yeah, Ronnie! Thank you, Ronnie. Gee, who's next? All right, so next up we got Anthony Welty, who's running as a Libertarian for Insurance Commissioner.
Hello, hello. All right, hopefully my speech doesn't blow away. First off, thank you guys for being here, and thank God for the rain going away for a little bit. So, my name's Anthony Welty. I am running for Washington State Insurance Commissioner in 2020, and I'm running against a 40-year career politician. He's been in office this entire century. Today, however, I'm not here to talk about what policies that I support or don't support, what public regulations are good or bad. In the spirit of the event, the idea of United Against Hate, I wanted to say a few words on that topic specifically. I think it's important for people to know when they're electing somebody where their heart stands, what their belief system is, who they are as a man or a woman, much more than what political party they might identify as or what boxes they check on your political list. But I got involved in politics in 2016 because I wanted to help people. You see, for my wife and I, our life's sole ambition is to help, to serve one another, to love others, to help and care for others. I didn't get involved in politics. I'm not running for office because I have some grand political aspirations. It's actually quite the opposite. You know, in a perfect world, in an ideal world, my wife and I would be living on a farm, leaving people alone, helping people that, you know, maybe can't get a job and offering them a job, or, you know, farming food and giving to those that are less fortunate. This day and age, though, is difficult, and we've decided to focus on the political spectrum for a period of time. And we live in a time right now where the corporate media, both left and right, cares more about stoking hate against one another, because stoking hate drives clicks, it drives shares, and it drives revenue. Not only that, our politicians feed into it. They amplify it. They give these sound bites on purpose because they want their tweet to go viral. This happens across both sides of the aisle. They care more about winning their elections and protecting their side of the aisle than they do the Constitution or we the people. They do this often by spreading fear. They do this by spreading hate. Since somebody else already mentioned Mandalorians here, I'm going to go right into my Star Wars quote. As the wise Yoda said, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Both sides of the aisle do this. Anyone that spent 5 minutes watching Fox News or CNN or reading Twitter knows that this is a fact. I, for one, think that we've hated each other long enough. I think that we've suffered long enough. I think we've had enough fear in our lives. I think that we as individuals need to be better. We need to be better about demanding our politicians to respect all of us, not just the people we agree with. We need to unify as people against this hateful rhetoric that has caused us to be this divided, as we've all seen. We see it right now. We need to unify against this rhetoric so that we are not simply voting blocks for politicians to target to help get elected. Most of all, we as individuals need to step up to the plate. We need to stop with the judgments against one another. We need to embrace our diversity and realize that since the dawn of time, no two people have been the same. We can't change that. We never will, and we should stop trying. That very diversity, though, is what makes us great. It's what makes America great. We should be embracing that individualism and that diversity and helping it prosper. And we should do that with love and tolerance with our actions every single day. As I was thinking about this speech and what this event meant to me, I honestly reflected on a lot of what I failed on. And taking that personal accountability, each and every one of us, to be better people, to have better interactions, I think is what's going to stop the hate and stop the division. You know, I've got some bad relationships with people I wish I didn't. You know, I find that most of that stems from a lack of communication, an ability to accept somebody for who they are. And often we end up condemning or hating somebody that we disagree with. In the political world, we use that mantra, that heart, and we pass laws that marginalize certain groups of people constantly. Year after year, more laws are written, and every single time, half of the country hates it. It doesn't matter what the law is. Half the country is going to hate it. This creates an environment where people are fearful that their ways of life are going to be harmed. And naturally, people get defensive. Doesn't matter what side you're on. If you feel like you are being attacked, that your belief system is being attacked, you oftentimes get defensive. And when that happens in politics, instead of fighting back against bad laws, which typically happens, is one party will pass laws that attack the other side. And then in the next cycle, the party that got attacked attacks back. And that's what's led to this division, where nobody's willing to cross the aisle and stand for the individual. It's always about what the party wants. I want to change that, though. To do that, it's important for me to walk the walk. You see, I'm a libertarian. and a proud one at that. I seek a world in which all individuals are sovereign over their own lives and are not forced to sacrifice their beliefs for the benefit of others. I believe that the respect for individual rights is the essential precondition for a free and prosperous world. I believe that force and fraud must be banished from our lives and from human relationships, and that only through freedom, true freedom, can our peace and prosperity be fully realized. Consequently, I defend each person's right to engage in any activity that is peaceful and honest, and I welcome the diversity that freedom will bring. I seek a world to build where individuals are free to follow their own dreams in their own ways without interference from government or authoritarian powers. By embracing our differences and accepting each other for who they are, and accepting that with love, not hate, we can create the peaceful coexistence that this country so much needs. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Where there is love, there is life." Nelson Mandela said, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, we can teach them to love. For love comes more naturally to the human spirit." And lastly, Martin Luther King, as we all know, said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Love can do that." All right, I don't need this anymore. I want to leave us with one thing real quick, and then I'll pass the mic. Self-accountability is important. Starting with ourselves. If we're going to talk about uniting over hate, we need to check ourselves first and foremost. We need to make sure our hearts are in the right space. It is very easy to get caught up in what's happening in this world. I do it. Some days are better than others. Sometimes you just have to hit that send button. I challenge each of us to be better about that going forward in 2020, to work on accepting one another and to genuinely try to build bridges where they don't exist. That's not going to be easy, and you're not going to accomplish it all the time, and there's going to be days where we fail. But I want each of you to know that if you do that, and you work with that positive spirit, you're not destined for failure. But if we don't try, we are destined for suffering. So I love each and every one of you. I love everybody that's out here today. I'd like to thank the police for being out here and supporting us, and the military vets as well. This is an awesome event. Free speech is wonderful, and thank you all for being here. God bless. Thank you much.
All right, so next up, we've got a guest who always seems to draw a crowd across the street. If anybody listens to him, it's kind of hard to understand why, because he's definitely not hateful. But next up, we've got Joey Gibson of Patriot Prayer.
Thank you. Hey, welcome to 2020. It's going to be a big year. Hey, what do you guys think about what JT Wilcox, Republican leadership, did to Matt Shea? I'm going to talk. That's right. It's treason. Okay, listen. I'm going to talk about JT Wilcox here in a second. But the first thing I want to say is when they throw Matt Shea under the bus, you have to understand they're throwing each and every single one of you under the bus. You have to take that personal, what they did to him. I'm going to talk about that in a second. The first thing I want to talk about is that each and every single one of us, everybody in this world, all of us have a desire to do something, right? All of us have a desire to make change in your community and your country. The reason why I believe that is because I believe that God sent us down here to actually make change. That's why we're here. I believe God sent us down here to find peace within our hearts. Okay, take that and go out and change the world. We're not meant to conform to this world. I was thinking about this a month ago. I was lying in my bed thinking, I was thinking about this, and this came to me. I was thinking about, there's a lot of atheists in this world, and that's fine. I'm not here to preach, okay? But when you talk to atheists, a lot of them believe that there's no God because of all the pain, the suffering, the misery, the hunger. I mean, the injustices are nonstop, okay, that we have in this world. And so they think, how is it that God, creator of this universe, how is it that he allows that to happen? And I don't have the answer to that question. I don't. But here's what I believe. I believe that when an atheist dies or when someone dies and he goes and meets his creator, God's going to say, why didn't you believe in me? And an atheist is going to say, all the pain, all the suffering, all the misery, how could you allow that to happen? And God will say, that's why I sent you down there. I sent you down there to have an impact. I sent you down there to protect those who cannot protect others, to have a voice for those who do not have a voice. My point is this. I believe that we're here to actually make a change in our country, to do things. You have to be able to try new things. Okay, and so this is something I've been thinking about a lot, and I think that we have too many people that are keeping their mouths shut. We have too many people that stay at home and they're not doing a damn thing, probably because we have people who are afraid to take action. Okay, this is why I want to talk about Matt Shea. They're so afraid of people who are willing to put their neck out there, who are willing to go up and show up on the streets. They're not afraid of people who are going to sit at their computer and type away and make comments, right? They're afraid of patriots like you guys who are willing to show up, okay? Down in Bunkerville in Nevada, Priest River, Idaho, okay? The refuge down in Oregon. This is what they're afraid of, and they're going to do everything they can to shut down people who are symbol, who is a voice, okay? Matt Shea, in my opinion, has become a huge voice, a symbol of freedom in the state of Washington. Do you guys agree? Yeah. I really look up to what he did. Did any of you guys read the report that the Republican leadership paid $120,000 for against him? Okay, I read it too. I didn't. Wilcox called Matt Shea a criminal, called him a domestic terrorist, okay? I'm reading through here. You want to talk about what Matt Shea did? I'll tell you, let's talk about what Matt Shea did. Matt Shea went down to Bunkerville with several other representatives, with several other sheriffs, and stood by the Bundys and supported them and gave a speech. That's the extent of the crime that he committed. In my opinion, Wilcox should have been down there with him. Do you guys agree with me? Hell yeah! Do you agree with me? On top of that, get this. Think about this. Priest River, Idaho, okay? Priest River, Idaho, get this. When you guys know about this, Obama, when he was in office, he was using the VA to go around illegally, take guns from veterans. Do you guys remember that? You guys remember that? No due process. It's worse than the red flag laws. No due process, no warrant, nothing, right? So the VA lets the sheriff know, Priest River, Idaho lets the sheriff know, hey, we're coming in to take guns from a veteran because he no longer controls his finances. That's it, right? So the sheriff stood against that. Matt Shea made a call for citizens to show up, right? Matt Shea showed up there with the sheriff, okay, with the local sheriff, and with other citizens. Here's what they did. Here's Matt Shea's crime. They were praying in the front yard, okay, and Matt Shea gave a speech. And one of the things in the report that Matt said that they're using as some sort of crime, Matt Shea said the feds are going to have to come through us to take the veterans' guns. Right? Again, in my opinion, Matt Shea is a hero. He's an example as a representative. Think about this. Think about this. We elect these people to protect us, to protect the Constitution, and to protect especially the Second Amendment. And Matt Shea, okay, a guy who obviously isn't about talk. Obviously isn't about talk. He's willing to take his boots, put it on the ground, right? Go all the way over to Idaho and to protect the veterans' Second Amendment. How beautiful is that? Again, Wilcox, what the hell did you do to protect that veterans' Second Amendment? What have you ever done? This is my point. Matt Wilcox, okay, supposedly some sort of Republican or whatever, okay, supposed to believe in the Constitution. Like I said, instead of throwing him under the bus, Matt Shea, Wilcox should have been standing shoulder to shoulder with Matt Shea that day in that front yard. Can I get an amen? Amen. Next thing, okay? Next crime, all right? Next crime. He's a domestic terrorist. Protecting the Constitution is domestic terrorism now, okay? Next crime, okay, we have the refuge down in Oregon. You guys, all of you guys know what happened down there, okay? God bless Lavoie, by the way. All of you know what happened down there. One of the things that Matt Shea did, his crime, okay, was going down there and meeting with the local officials. He met with the DA, he met with the judge, he tried to meet with the sheriff, he didn't show up for whatever reason. Matt Shea felt as if he was being lied to, okay, because he was. He was, okay? There was a lot of lies going on there. Matt Shea was concerned that there was going to be some sort of massacre, okay? He had that concern. It was a legitimate concern. Because he felt this way, he and several officials went over to the refuge and talked to the protesters. That was the extent of his crime. And on the leaked email, okay? A leaked email, an encrypted leaked email, right? So this wasn't for the public. He had an action plan. Do you know what the #1 goal was on his action plan? Do you guys know? It was to keep the peace and to make sure no blood was spilled that day, to make sure the government did nothing stupid, right? So let me get this straight. Matt Shea risked his career, right? He even risked his life. He went all the way down there, right? Went on the front lines and did what he can to make sure that the government doesn't come in and spill a bunch of blood, right? Again, Wilcox, what the hell did you do to protect anybody that day? What did you do to try to stop that bloodshed? Matt Shea went down there on the front lines. Again, in my opinion, what Matt Shea did, in my opinion, that's something that, to me, that's a hero. That's something that I want my son to look up to, right? That's a hero, not LeBron James or these other people in Hollywood. This is a guy that's willing to sacrifice everything for each and every single one of you guys. I want you to think about that, because I'm talking from experience in terms of all the hatred that's coming on to Matt Shea, right? All of it, all the attacks. Think about his family, all of it. I guarantee you he's not doing it for himself, right? Or he would have quit. He would have stepped down a long time ago, and he's not going anywhere because he believes in what he's doing. And here's my point. Here's what I want to say to you guys. Matt Shea, in my opinion, when I do my research and I look into speeches, he does things and he says things because he believes in it, right? You can't corrupt him. You can't pay him out, right? There's none of that. Matt Shea's a symbol. He's a voice, and that's why they're doing everything that they can to destroy him. What they want is they want you guys to be extremists, right? You guys who show up. So they don't want Matt Shea or other representatives to stand with you guys. If something like what happened down in Oregon ever happens again, they're trying to send a message to every single elected official. Either stand with the feds, right, or you're going to be labeled a domestic terrorist. That's what it is. Okay, so we have to make sure we do everything that we can to support Matt Shea. I've thought about this a lot. I've prayed about this. I think it's an opportunity, okay, to get people more involved, in Olympia, and we've got to call out the Republican establishment in Washington State. Do you agree with me? Yeah. You guys know that we have let's see, the 17th, Friday, 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks Friday, we have that Second Amendment rally in Olympia, okay? Make sure all of you guys are there. I believe it starts at 9 a.m. They have that same rally every single year. Okay, you got to go in there, got to lobby. Last year they shut the doors though, so you can't go in the lobby. Okay, but hopefully this year they won't. This year it's at 9 o'clock. I'll be there too. At 2 p.m. I'm going to be going inside into the up on the 3rd floor in the middle in front of the house. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing a free Matt Shea, Pray for Matt Shea event. Okay, it's only going to be about 30-45 minutes. I would like to see each and every single one of you there to support Matt Shea. He needs our support. I've talked to Matt Shea. One other thing I want to talk about here about Matt Shea too again. One of his other crimes in the report, okay, this is how far from reality we're coming, is that he was at breakfast, right, with a couple of guys, and they're talking about stockpiling ammunition. And they were passing around a night vision scope. That was someone took a picture of him and called the police. That was in the report. That's part of his crime. That's a Monday morning breakfast for us, right? That's part of the crime. The other thing that I thought was hilarious to me was that they were talking about the fact that he's been going around training the youth, right? How to prepare for when, excuse my language, when shit hits the fan, right? Talking about stockpiling ammunition, talk about preparing for things like if the economy collapses and all that and everything. To me, that's just smart, right? We all stockpile, we all prepare. You got to be an idiot if you don't prepare, right? If you don't have food, if you don't have ammo at your house for you and your family, okay? So, like I said, I'll finish up with this. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on in Washington State in 2020. I can feel it, okay? A lot of stuff is already happening. You got to ask yourself, what is it that's stopping you, okay? All of you here have something you want to do. You got to ask yourself, what is stopping you? What is it that's stopping you? All of us have something that we want to do, myself included, but we don't do it. It's something new. We don't do it. We don't go after it for whatever reason it is, and usually it comes down to this. Okay? Because we're concerned about what other people think about us. I'm talking about from personal experience. We're so concerned about what people think instead of what God thinks. And that's what drives us, that's what motivates us. My example, when my first speech that I was so afraid to give, the reason why I was afraid was because I was afraid of looking stupid in front of people, right? But if I was more concerned about what God thinks, I wouldn't care, because God doesn't care if I screw up in my speech. What God wants for all of us, for me, for each and every single one of you, He just wants us to try, guys. Just put out some effort. Go out there and try it. Doesn't matter how many times you fail. If He sees you put out that effort, He's going to be so proud of you. If you want to taste what I believe, you want to taste of what God thinks about us, you look at your children, okay? You look at the way that God loves us. Look at the way you love your children. That's just a taste. And I want to give you a quick example. I want you to think about this real hard, okay? I coached football for 10 years. I played football. I love the sport. It's a great sport. It's one of the only sports few things our kids can do now that can kind of be, warrior-like, be men, all right? One of the things is that if my son decides to play football when he's older and he's out there, he's playing quarterback, okay, and he's just getting his ass handed to him every single play, right? Not one touchdown, throwing so many interceptions. He's getting driven to the ground every single time. But if I see him, they drive him into the ground, and I see him get up every single play, getting back in that huddle, calling the play, going up every single play, and I see him never quitting, right? Bleeding for his teammates, right? I could not be any more proud of him as a father, guys. That is the way that God looks at us, and I'm telling you, this is the thing. This is the thing that people don't understand about the human spirit. If you just go out and try, remember, you're a creation of God. You're a miracle. The things that you can do, if you just put out some effort and you don't quit, you will change the world. I'm telling you, you will change the world. Doing something is a million times more powerful than something. You just cannot sell yourself short. If you sell yourself short, you're selling God short, guys. I'm telling you. So again, I'm going to remind you, that Friday, okay, 2 p.m., third floor, right in the middle, you'll see me and a bunch of other people with signs. Please join me. Come support Matt Shea. And on top of that, please email and phone call JT Wilcox as much as you possibly can. Go to his Facebook page. Matt Marshall's on there all the time. Go to JT Wilcox's Facebook page. Comment every single time he makes a post so that he understands that no matter how much they try to make us afraid to support Matt Shea, we're not going to stand down. We will always support Matt Shea, and we're very thankful for what Matt Shea has done for us and everything they put him through. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joey. So, next up, to come right off Joey's a speech here talking about training of the youth. One of our youngest members, recent high school graduate, constitutional activist, and a vocal speaker for the Libertarian Party, Aryeh Rodette.
Go Aryeh!
Hello everyone, thank you for coming out today. Having these rallies in the winter really helps thin out the fair weather patriots, but I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces and new faces, and I just absolutely love that. So today we gather here in Washington, the once proud emerald of Washington, Seattle, and on my drive-in I know that I saw a few, maybe even a bum fight. I might have seen a bum fight. I saw some encampments, someone shooting up, and it's hard to see. Because I remember coming down here in 5th grade, visiting the museums down here on a field trip. I don't remember it being like this. And it's really incredible. In just a few short years, the people who claim to spread love and acceptance throughout this state and this city, they're the cancer. They're the ones infecting us. They're the ones who have done this to this city. And if you stand against them, they dehumanize you. Like what Joey was saying with Matt Shea. Look what's happened to him. I don't agree with a lot of his beliefs, but he is not a criminal, I can say that. Oh yeah! The government has turned against you. They have turned against all of us. They want to make you feel like the victim. They want to give handouts, not hands up. I messed that up. I hate these speeches, they're scary. Okay, so back to the point. I don't need it, I'm just going to go off the top of my head. So today we're out here with truly open hearts, with true love and acceptance in our hearts. Even though the protesters over there, they call us fascists, they want to suppress what we're saying, they'd rather bury us, leave us in the past, saying we're a thing of the past. That's not going to happen. What the real fascism is when you refuse to let someone speak, is when you hold them in a position where they don't have power anymore. And I'm here to tell you, we all have power. We're all individuals of our own. No one owns us. The only thing the government should be able to hold over us is law, is criminals. They should only be able to hold absolute power over the unjust. And we are just. We have not been criminalized. We are still people. We are still American citizens. We pay taxes, which I think is bullshit. I don't see no tax man sitting out there 9 to 5 building seawalls with me. Look at my boots. They're destroyed. I scraped concrete off them this morning. Why the hell do they get a sum of my money? It's ridiculous. Now they're here to tell me in Washington State I can't buy tobacco. They just raised the law, federal law. I can't buy nicotine unless I'm 21. I can go join the military, become property of the United States of America, be sent to die across the world for somebody I don't even know for no reason. There's no reason we should be in Iraq right now. We should take our troops home. They need to be with their families. These foreign wars are bullshit. So I'm here today spreading love and peace. I'm not a violent person. I actually plan on later going to go talk to some of the lovely people over there, shake some hands, just get what their side of the story, see why they're so angry. And that's really the key to this, to all of this, is just really taking the time to sit down, relax, and talk to the people you need to talk to. This isn't an easy journey. It's a hard one. It's been really rough the past 3 to 4 years doing this. I've lost so many friends. I've been ostracized by family members. I was punished in school. Doing this isn't easy is what I'm trying to say, but it's the righteous thing to do no matter what. I believe in my full heart that what I'm doing is right, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, after everything I've said, as long as one person understands what I'm saying and they get it, and they finally feel free to speak up and no longer live under the oppression of our state, I feel like I did a good thing. Again, I'm Mario Rodi. Thank you.
So next up we have a candidate for the GOP for Lieutenant Governor, Joseph Brumbles.
Thank you, Matt. Very great friend, Matt. Okay, guys, before I start my speech, I just want to ask a few questions, a few things for us to think about. What is a true representative of the people? Is it someone who sells their soul for themselves and their own gain? No. Is it someone who sells out the people for monetary gain? No. Breaks their oath of office? No, that's what I would call a tyrant, right? Not a representative of the people. So why do we keep electing these people? Good, great question. My next question is, what is liberty? Is it higher taxation? Is it high taxation without representation? Is it a tax on our constitutional, or I should say our constitutions or our constitutional rights? No, that's not liberty, that's tyranny. Back to square one, right? Back to the tyranny. What is divide and conquer? This is a very important question as I look at those people right across the street who have been indoctrinated, lied to, and are straight out, they're just, they're manipulated. They believe wrong is right and right is wrong. And that's what we're fighting today in our state. Right is wrong and wrong is right. So what is divide and conquer? Is it Republicans versus Democrats? Is it left versus right? Is it Antifa versus the Patriots? No, we're all Americans, right? So we need to start acting like it. So that being said, we must ask questions like these to everybody that we run into, if possible. But we must continue to ask questions like these. We must have difficult conversations with people who may not share the same viewpoints as we do. We must not amplify that divide and conquer, because the corrupt, the oath breakers, the globalists, the elite, they want their one world government. And I will talk about this publicly because it's the truth, it's reality. They want their one world government. We are on the political front lines, and the way that they plan on getting that one world government is to completely divide and conquer, to divide us against each other, to divide and conquer. So we cannot be part of that agenda. I refuse to be manipulated into that. And hopefully you guys will as well. So we must wake folks up, we must have the difficult conversations, and we must ask questions. So we are gathered here today to stand against hate. Hate, as well as most other things, has transferred over time, transgressed, changed. Hate is not what it used to be. People don't even know why they're hating now. All they do is believe the mainstream agenda, whatever they're spoon-fed in the mainstream media, so on and so forth. that's controlled by the globalists, and that's not okay. So we are gathered here today to stand against hate. As you probably know, united we stand, divided we fall. This is exactly what I represent. As many of you may know, I'm running for Washington State Lieutenant Governor. My name is Joseph Brumbles, and I stand for liberty first, people over party, and a united Washington. Thank you. So I ran in 2018 for U.S. Congress District 10 against Denny Heck, who is now retiring. I won't even get into that, but that's a whole other situation. We have to attack that at all angles, unless we want to get a socialist to replace him. But I ran in 2018 against Denny Heck for U.S. Congress. My very first run, became politically active in 2018. I've always been politically interested. Decided it's enough is enough. It's time to stand up, to make a stand. I ran for U.S. Congress. Very first run, got 104,000 votes in general election, or roughly 40% of the votes. We almost beat Denny Heck. He spent $9,200. I'm sorry, he spent $1.2 million. I spent $9,200, and we got 40% of the general election. So great job, guys. This time I plan on winning. Plan on liberating Washington State, or helping to. So many of you have heard me talk about creating and spreading awareness. Awareness is one of our greatest tools. There are many things to be aware about, many things that we need to change. Many representatives, they only represent themselves, and they need to go. We cannot pay people to care. They either care or they don't. That's one thing I learned in business. I've been a business manager for over 14 years. And people are either going to care or they're not. You can't pay somebody to care, right? So why should we expect to pay our representatives to care? They either care or they don't. These people include, but are absolutely not limited to, Governor Outley. I call him Outley because he's going to be gone in 2020. Thank you. From tyrannical overtaxation from Outley to robbing us with his ridiculous tax dollar-funded security detail. So he ran for, as you know, president, and he had a crazy security detail at the expense of we the people, which is also tyrannical. He refuses to pay it back, even though he dropped out of the race. Our AG Bob Ferguson, who thanks to Matt and Scott Bannister here, we are going to recall him. From his failure to stand up for $30 car tabs to his oath breaking by advocating a yes to I-1639, he has to go. He's a tyrant. Unfortunately, the Republican Party also has been infiltrated. A great example is J.T. Wilcox. Anybody here know J.T. Wilcox? Yes. He voted yes for sanctuary state status, as well as for higher gas taxes. Who here likes higher gas taxes? Who thinks that's necessary? Yeah, me neither. And let's not forget, he voted yes on excluding public officials from public records disclosure. So he excludes himself from public records disclosure. Isn't that convenient? Again, that sounds like a tyrant to me. His lobbying on our time. Let's not forget his traitorous assault on Matt Shea. So as you know, he's attacked Matt Shea. He went as far as putting out a public statement at the very bottom saying that Matt Shea's office will be removed. So like, what kind of tyrant does it? Where's his office going to be moved to? You going to move it to the basement? Where are you moving Matt Shea's office to? So this very tyrant type activity there. Unfortunately, I could go on a bit longer, but I think that the message is clear. We have to continue to stand up. We have to liberate Washington State in 2020. Folks like you can and will be the difference. I want to continue to help. I want to continue to fight. Ultimately, it is not just up to me as an individual or any other individual, but up to all of us. We have to stand united on a united front. Some people want to know what the Lieutenant Governor does. Lieutenant Governor is President of the State Senate, power of the gavel, can question constitutionality of legislation, can help to introduce legislation, can use influence to help to rid our state of other tyrannies such as exposing oath-breaking representatives and so on, which is what I've already begun to do as of last year. And the Lieutenant Governor is often on important committees and represents Washington State in many other ways and can eventually become governor. So we don't want to elect somebody Lieutenant Governor that we don't want to have around for a while. So Overall, the Lieutenant Governor position is an extremely important position and cannot continue to be held by Cyrus Habib. He cannot stay. He has to go. If we have to, we'll recall him as well. 2020 is the year that we stand up and we fight and we tell these guys the gloves have come off and we are not going to have this in our state. We are not going to move. We're not going to run away. We are on the political front lines and this is our home. So Cyrus Habib is also another oath breaker. He's anti-2A. He locked We the People out of our building back in 2019 legislative session, very beginning. There was a little 2A rally there, what have you. People were there with their guns, and they were perfectly legally allowed to go into the building, meet the representatives, and Cyrus Habib locked We the People out of our own building that we pay for. So that's tyrannical at its best. Cyrus was not born in America, but Iran, and recently mourned publicly for the recent killing of Iranian general, a man who threatened Americans and killed many people. Also, Cyrus went through college from money that was given to him by the brother of George Soros. It's all public record. I'm not making this stuff up. How could you? Is it coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. Regardless, this is a man that we do not want in such an important office as Lieutenant Governor. So what about me? What do I stand for? What does Brumble stand for? I stand for liberty over tyranny. I stand for our state and federal constitutions. I stand for election integrity and fixing our election system. Our system is rigged in some auditors' offices, I believe, and we need to fix it. You guys have no chain of custody when you send out your ballots. It's through the mail. There's no chain of custody. You take your word that it goes from point A to point B and that they count it correctly. I don't know about you, but that's not okay to me. Any of you out there, you cannot audit your own ballot. That is not right. I do not believe that is right. There's an RCW in place that says you cannot see your own ballot image. When they go through the tabulator machines, they take ballot images, it stores them. That's supposed to be a way that we can audit our elections. And there's an RCW in place that says that legally you cannot do that. You cannot ask for a picture of your own ballot. So that has to go, and many other things. So that's one thing I'm fighting very strongly for, standing very strongly for, is election integrity. We need to fix our system if we are to take our state back. Of course, I also stand for the Second Amendment. I stand for family court reform. I stand for minimal taxation. And that's just to name a few states. Stand to liberate Washington State by fighting, by exposing the oath-breaking politicians, regardless of partisanship. Most importantly, I stand for you. I stand for us, regardless of Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or Independent. I'm everyone's representative. I'm ultimately a constitutional conservative, but as a representative, one must be able to represent all people, which I can and I will do, but never at the cost of liberty. So what can you guys do to help? You just stand with me, help to spread the message. Go to josephforwashington.com to learn more. Donate if possible. Most importantly, create and spread awareness, as I discussed. And remember, this year is ours. The time is now. Let's stand up. Let's take our state back. Let's liberate Washington State. And to do that, we need a united Washington. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joseph. So a couple things have been brought up while speakers have been up here, and I was going to kind of close it out for everybody with a good friend of mine, Scott Bannister. If I have Scott come up. Some of you may have been following, actually probably all of you, but some of the media has not been following, that the two of us, about December 16th, 20th, sometime in there, in December, we filed formal petition papers with the Secretary of State to recall Bob Ferguson.
They told us it'd be 15 days before they got back with us.
So what they didn't have anticipated was we had read the RCW, and we knew it as well, if not better, than their office did. When we gave them the paperwork, the first thing they did was kind of a nice little eye roll, and were surprised that we were able to actually do it correctly, and said, please have a seat, and went to the back office for 15, 20 minutes, to which they came out, said, okay, we have to stamp this, and wanted our contact info, and so on. They also realized that in the RCW, which we knew, that they had 24 hours to serve Bob Ferguson. They also had 24 hours to serve the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who has to write the ballot title. I don't know, have you guys read this ballot title? All right, well, I'm going to pass this off to Scott to keep talking on this while I look up the ballot title so I can read it to you.
Hello, I'm Scott Bannister. And Matt was correct. It was the 16th that we served that. they're just tyrants. And we need to remove them all. They don't think that we can do this. They think that we're barking up a tree. They don't know the law. They don't know the RCWs that they're pushing. The RCWs are for them, not us. Statutes and laws and codes are not for the people. The common law is for the people. We got rid of common law back in '74, I believe it was. Get us back to that.
Ballot synopsis. All right. Took me a second to find it. So, Bob Ferguson, the Attorney General of the state of Washington. The statement of charges alleges that Bob Ferguson, as Attorney General of the state of Washington, committed acts of misfeasance and malfeasance and violated his oath of office by campaigning in personal support of Initiative 1639 and pledging to defend the initiative in court, acting with intent to obtain personal political benefit and or deprive Washington citizens of their right to bear arms under Article 1, Section 24 of the Washington Constitution and the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. By failing to recuse the Attorney General's office from the defense of Initiative 976 in court, while the office simultaneously prosecutes Initiative sponsor Tim Eyman for campaign finance violations, and was involved with Sound Transit Authority in a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality to Sound Transit's taxes, and by failing to adequately defend Initiative 976 in court. That is what we have for a ballot synopsis. Real quick, does anybody know what the definition of taxation without representation is?
What we're living right now, Matt!
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. That is what we're living with. But Sound Transit, a bunch of appointed officials that they get to vote to raise their taxes. Did you elect these members who raised your taxes? There you go. There's a real prime example of taxation without representation. I believe we've fought wars over this. Anyway, I would like all of you to join Scott and I Friday, right back here, King County Superior Court, 11 a.m. We get to go against the Attorney General's office, the two of us with our legal representation, and we will be petitioning to get this approved so we can start the signature collection. So, if you can make it back here, let's pack the courtroom with the Patriots. With that said, we did have a couple of other speakers who unfortunately could not make it today. One of which got stuck in some weather. That was Stuart Rhodes. So he's not going to make it. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a great time. We're going to be exiting here in the next about 10 minutes or so as the bus starts to come back in for us. And then, oh yeah, I forgot about one speaker here. Is Caleb Heimlich here?
He's one of them that has to go.
Yeah, so Caleb Heimlich, the Washington State Republican Party chair, was invited. He never responded to me, which is typical. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss him if he was here.
It's just like his buddy JT.
Anyway, thank you all for coming. We're going to start tearing down here. Feel free to mingle amongst yourselves, and when the buses get here, you'll know, and we'll start moving out. Thank you.
God bless America!